Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I'm here to talk about Mick Parkin versus Caio Machado. Machado is 8-1-1 as a pro, 29 years old, and he's given up 1 inch of reach to 28-year-old Mick Parkin, who is 7-0 as a pro. And Parkin, he made his debut in the UFC earlier this year, beating Jamal Pogues. I got that one wrong. Not that I was sure he was going to lose, but I picked him to lose, just based on UFC experience and that type of shit. And Mick Parkin instead was leading the dance and, I can't say dominated Jamal Pogues, but he definitely won the fight. Didn't leave any room for dispute. I thought Mick Parkin was safe in that fight, kept himself safe. He had good defense, and he really impressed me with his work rate and his volume. And, of course, cardio to push that all together as a heavyweight. He's a big guy. I think he's a little bit bigger than Caio Machado, 10, 15 pounds or so. And I do think Caio Machado moves better on the outside. But as far as the actual hand speed goes, Mick Parkin is faster than he looks anyway. I think I described him as a potentially better version of Josh Parisian. And I guess I still kind of stand by that. But Mick Parkin definitely impressed me with that win over Jamal Pogues. And I think he could be a much better version of Josh Parisian. He has 5 TKOs, just 1 submission and just 1 decision, of course, which comes in his last fight. And the 1 submission comes in the fight before that against Eduardo Nieves, I believe, or Neves, on the Contender Series. He got him out of the rear naked choke early in round 1, even though the guy kind of melted pretty quickly. But it's good to see Mick Parkin rounding things out on his record, getting his first submission and his first decision in his 2 most high-profile fights. And, of course, he doesn't have the best experience. Those are his best wins. And neither does Caio Machado, though. I mean, Caio Machado, he's been fighting in Canada his whole career, and he doesn't have the best resume, but he's still got a pretty record. 8-1-1. 4 TKOs, 2 submissions, and 2 decisions. And the 1 loss comes by decision in a 5-round fight to Dustin Johnson, who is not a horrible fighter at all, but not a world beater either. Caio Machado's best win comes in his last fight over Kevin Zaflarski. That was on the Contender Series, and he proved to have good energy in that fight and a pretty damn good work rate. And I do think while he's certainly not a master technician by any means, he moves well on the outside, and he's got a big left hand, an overhand left. He's a southpaw. And it's powerful enough. It's gotten him some knockouts, but it's certainly sloppy, as he showed in his last fight. He was very sloppy in that one. And still, I think he can take something away from that fight, and actually, if he can duplicate his success there, he can have some success against Mick Parkin, because I do think he moves better than Mick Parkin, and if he keeps it on the far outside striking, he could beat him with a jousting battle, leg kicks and whatever, maybe overhand lefts or whatever he makes work for him. But I also think he's not seasoned enough as a striker. He's not a good enough striker to really fight such a disciplined fight without getting crowded, cornered and crowded by even a slower guy like Mick Parkin, or by getting just outstruck on his way in. And I think Mick Parkin is a better striker. I think he's a cleaner striker. I think he keeps himself safe. I don't think he's going to fall for the big overhand left of Caio Machado, and I think he's going to counter very well. Mick Parkin, the guy that I saw beat Jamal Pogues, that guy beats any version of Caio Machado I've seen. Caio Machado, though, he's never been finished. He's a big guy himself, matches Mick Parkin in stature, maybe not in weight. And he's a guy that has a good work rate and good movement and whatever. I think he's definitely got a better chance than his odds would suggest. But I'm picking Mick Parkin to win. I would go with Mick Parkin winning by decision. I think he would beat him up, largely in a stand-up battle throughout the 15 minutes, and get the much cleaner strikes. But I'm not going to bet on Mick Parkin, and if I get drunk enough, maybe I'll bet on Caio Machado, because Mick Parkin, I still don't have my full assessment of the guy as a fighter. I mean, he's only 7 fights into his pro career, and he hasn't had the best resume at all. He hasn't fought the best fighters. So I don't really have a full grasp on either guy, and I just see a plus 250 for one guy, and I go, huh, there's got to be some value on that. And that's really my read on this fight. But if you ask me to give you a prediction, it's Mick Parkin. He's a cleaner striker. He showed to have a lot of good traits in the Jamal Pogues fight. And again, he seems to be turning a corner. Now, he fought 15 minutes hard in his most high profile fight, and he looked better than Kyle Machado did when he fought 15 minutes against Kevin Zaflarski. I think Mick Parkin is cleaner, and he gets the better of Kyle Machado in a striking battle largely, and bullies him around on the inside with physicality if he needs to. So Mick Parkin is the pick, and Kyle Machado, if I was the bet, would be the bet. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.